Great. Well, I have a full screen of beautiful faces in front of me. Um, oh my goodness, my mom's here. Hi, Mom. Where's the puppy? Very exciting. Um, well, great. So I'm gonna start giving an introduction, and for anyone that chimes in late, they'll miss some of the introduction, and they'll figure it out because it's not that hard to sit back and watch the show. For anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Matthew Young. I'm a photographer, I'm a director, I'm the founder of Art of Freelance. This is a 10-week online workshop that we've now run for the 10th time. And it's a way to get creative people to sort of set some goals and then get together weekly and hold each other accountable to those goals and make new work. It's like just that simple. And this is a really special night that we do at the end of each of the workshops where we get together and see the new work that was created. I'll give disclaimers so that people presenting don't feel like they have to. Some of the work is incomplete. They're still working on it. Some of the projects are very personal. Some of them are some of them are more sort of functional. People take this opportunity in 10 weeks to also redesign websites and sort of get their productivity in line. So we're going to see a whole diversity of the kinds of projects that people take, that people made. And the other disclosure is that this is the first time we've done this showcase via Zoom. And obviously over the past 10 weeks, between coronavirus and then the protests around the sort of racial and social inequity reckoning that we're having in the country right now, it's been a challenging time to stay focused on personal creative projects and continue to make stuff. So I was just sort of complimenting everybody that's going to present tonight on how inspired I am personally to see them sort of reach this finish line and being willing to keep pushing forward these projects and come here tonight to present them. And I don't want to take too much time. We're going to hear about 3 minutes from each person. We're going to do 2 blocks of 10. I'd encourage you, if you need to, we're not going to do an intermission, but if you need to use the restroom, just turn off your sound and do what you need to do and come back, and we'll be running this for the next whatever that shakes out to be, hour and 20 right there. If you're not super familiar with Zoom, I would recommend in the upper right-hand corner, there's a speaker view and a gallery view. If you pop into the gallery view, you sort of see lots of the faces of people right now. It's a lot of fun, but when people are presenting, I would recommend the speaker view and you'll see them big on your screen. I'd ask everyone that's a guest here tonight to keep themselves on mute so there's no background noise. If you have any questions, the chat window, you can use the chat window. It's down on the bottom in the center. It says chat right there, and we'll kind of keep our eyes on that. So if you have any questions, pop them there in the chat window. And I think without further ado, did I miss anything? Sarah, do you feel like you got it all in there?
Yes, and also for me, I'm a guide. Hello, everyone. For my cohort group, I'm going to be putting some of their information in the chat as they're speaking. So each person is going to present ways that you can connect to them as well, but sometimes it's nice to have it on the side. You can copy and paste that or take a screen grab for yourself later if you'd like to connect with any of those people. Be looking at the chat box.
Yeah, that's great. And a special shout out to Sarah Prickroll and Mara Surdins and Kelly Butler, who are 3 guides for these 3 cohorts. Tomorrow night, we're doing another showcase with the other 3 cohorts. There was 6 of us this time. But these 3 sort of checked in with these cohorts each week and helped guide them through this workshop. They'd all done the workshop before. So thank the 3 of you very much. So without any further ado, yeah, we're good. Okay. So I think that's all I need to say, and let's start seeing some work. So people are going to jump in, they're going to unmute themselves, they're going to introduce themselves, they're going to screen share, and they're going to share their projects that way. Or they'll be playing a video of something that's been pre-recorded. So here we go. I believe that first up is Kofi, if I'm not mistaken, and that's because Kofi's coming all the way from Ghana, where it's 12:30 in the morning tomorrow. He's in the future, so we're stoked that he was able to stay up late for us, and we're glad that you're here, man.
Hi everyone. Yes, so I'm Kofi Duche, and I'm a social media strategist and also a content creator. And today I'll be presenting my portfolio for projects out of freelance and for the work I've done over the 10 weeks. And so I'll hand it over to Sarah to present the video that I have pre-recorded.
We're not hearing that sound, huh?
I'm a social media strategist and a content creator based here in Accra, Ghana. I started off as a science student. I graduated with a college degree in science, and I had to make a switch to social media marketing because there were no vacancies for science jobs during that time. But then because I started working as a social media manager during my final year, I developed a love for social media marketing and how to pursue it. So I've worked with local and foreign brands the past 4 years of my life. So basically, I developed creative social media strategies for small businesses and individuals and help them find their place on social media. So I'm showcasing my skills and abilities. So first off, I'm available for social media consultation. I train people and small businesses and who want to start off with social media. I also develop social media strategies for businesses and brands. I also manage social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and even websites. I also provide creative direction, digital content creation, social media ad strategy using Facebook, also marketing copywriting, and also search engine optimization. So I'm going to showcase my past projects. I just created a few due to the little time I have. So this first project, I did creative direction, wood photography, mood board generation, social media management for the restaurant brand based in Accra, Ghana. So I was supposed to just showcase how to tell food stories using vibrant imagery in food. The second project was another creative direction and food photography concept for another restaurant brand based in Accra, Ghana. As you can see, my right hand there showing serving food to the next person at the table. So use of vibrant imagery and colors to go to sell food services in the restaurant. And this was a project. The third one, project in 2019 November, the digital campaign for a menswear brand in Accra. We were celebrating their 5 years anniversary, and I came up with a digital communication strategy for them, and was great. That's to their spring summer collection. This last project was a Valsy campaign for an events-based brand here in Accra, Ghana. So I featured as a model, and I also helped with creative direction, collaborated with photographers to go to execute this project. So all these projects are featured on my website portfolio. So to go to find out, just get in touch with me via my social media handle, KofiGram, on Instagram and on Twitter. That is my email and my contact number. Yes, so kindly get in touch with me, then we can discuss any projects. I want to thank Art of Freelance for this opportunity to showcase my journey and the next 4 to 5 years to come as a social media marketer.
Woo! Nice work, Kofi. That's my least favorite part about Zoom is that you can't hear the thunderous applause because everyone's on mute.
Woo!
But thunderous applause.
Thank you.
Thunderous applause with the hands. Nice work, man. That's a lot to put
Thank you.
together.
Thank you.
That's really
Thank
great.
you.
And it's exciting to see your work.
Thank you.
And thanks for dialing in every week all the way from Ghana.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So next up we have Mr. Jeff Minton. Hey, man.
Yeah. Hey, can you hear me? Yes, you can. Cool. Yeah. So let me put my let me share my screen here. I don't know. I was going so quick here. Share. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. I'll make it smaller so you can't. Well, I don't know. On my screen, it covers up the image a little bit. But anyway, let me go back up here. So yeah, I'm a photographer. I'm in Pasadena. I also do some directing. I've been shooting for 20 years. And I kind of stumbled across the art of freelance in like basically the night before it started, and being kind of stuck here at home and not having a lot of jobs coming on, I'm like, this is actually perfect. So I can try to start it on a project and have a group of people to chat with, and accountability. So after you know, our different exercises and stuff, I narrowed it down to what I'm calling 12-16. And it's basically about my two wildly different daughters, and how they coped with being home and how they kind of became best friends. So I decided to treat the project sort of like work. So less capturing moments and more like creating moments, kind of like like a commercial job. So I'll just give you one slide, kind of outtake of my book that we put together, where it'd be like the props, the wardrobe, what are they going to be doing, where are we going to shoot, at what time, what day, and I let them weigh in on it a lot, and they're kind of like, what if we tried this and that? So that's how that kind of came along. So I made myself shoot every single day for the 7 weeks, which was like exhilarating, but also started to get pretty, we were over it for, you know, it got a little painful at the end, but I think we came out with some good work, so. And I also started to get really into the pairings of things. I like seeing two pictures next to each other. So because sometimes, I mean, it looks interesting, but it'll just kind of create a little narrative on its own. And we also have these two giant cats, which are made their way into too many pictures. And lastly, there's a lot of flowers, because Lila here is a flower girl. So basically my project became about two little girls, cats and flowers. So I'm feeling pretty tough about that part. And a lot of art projects. This is made out of coffee filters, and she made it into a dress, or we did. I don't know about you guys, but I spent a long time just staring in the refrigerator looking for answers. Sometimes food. And it got to the point, like, this is a snake that they cut out of paper, printed and cut, and they're just like, it would be cool if this was happening. I'm like, thanks, guys. They're like my art department. And it's really interesting listening to a 15-year-old, because she's on TikTok and she's so into social media, and just hearing what she thinks is good and is not good is pretty different than mine. But that's what was really one of the really interesting things that came out of this project. And also, they kind of, after a while, they're like, my character wouldn't do that, because Lila's the fun, flowery girl, and Ella's the more introverted, kind of darker, she makes skulls, and the other one makes unicorns, so just kind of playing it up a little bit. It was really fun, the performance part of it. This is my catio that I built, so cats can be out there at night and watch the coyotes running around underneath them.
That nailed the timing.
That's right. You could say hello or whatever. Check out some more of my work. But there you go. It's been great. It's a fun thing. I'm gonna going to recommend this to a lot of my peers.
Jeff, really beautiful work, man. That's awesome. And it's really cool to see how personal some of that work was, and using your daughters like that. That's been one of the coolest things, I think, from photographers during COVID, is seeing sort of what they had at home and what they could use. And that was, but to add that layer of sort of that commercial sensibility to it is awesome. And it sounds like they were both your talent, your art directors, kind of your clients, the whole thing. It's awesome, man. Beautiful. Well, we're gonna keep on chugging along. And I lost the chat window, so I lost the names. So introduce yourself.
Oh, well done, Kofi and Jeff. That's so good to see. Yeah, hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a movement and breath coach for actors. And I spent the Art of Freelance time devising and creating curriculum for a course to help actors own their story, realize their uniqueness, and really expand into their true authentic selves. I'm really passionate about that. I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've now been a coach for several years. And I wanted a course that is dedicated to the person, the actor, their sense of self and their well-being. And the reason I chose actors was because, unlike any other profession, the actor's instrument is themselves. They bring themselves to any character they play. But unlike all the other techniques they learn, they very rarely have to address who they really are, and get rid of any blocks that are in their way, because they do need to be emotionally available to own their stories so they can own the stories of others, and also to know their sense of self, their sense of worth, and that they are enough in an industry that is incredibly competitive. It's often talked about, but very rarely is there a practical, tangible, visceral course to do to help actors get back to that gut feeling, heart opening, intuitive thinking wisdom, connecting that mind and body so that they are then connected to their instincts. I don't know whether I can share. I pulled some pictures together purely to give you it's like a mood board so you can get an idea of it. My process is I use movement. That is my thing. The body houses our library of our life. So they go on this journey with music. I use the 7 chakras as a compass to kind of each week. It's a 7-week course. So each week they look at a different chakras. So we start at the roots, and then we go up into the belly and the hips, into the core, into the heart area, into the throat. And these are all images that I'm showing you that are what I'm using, music, my voice, guiding them on this journey. I set up the studio that it's very dimly lit. It's a personal experience. Their eyes are closed and they go on this journey. I'm aiming to have it online by the 20th of July. I used to teach this in the class, and obviously eventually would like to teach it in person when we can do that again. But then at the end of the movement, they have a moment of reflection. We use art to just transfer that experience into colors. Then we use mindfulness, connection with each other, and journaling prompts to get them to really own their story. And yeah, this is right now, I would love to connect with anyone that's connected with audio and music, because I'd love to collaborate on creating those playlists. And the other thing that I am devising is a resource document to help anything that arises for actors. So it's really about the well-being, about them getting back to who they are so they can better serve the world of telling the stories, being the voice for the voiceless. And there's my Instagram handle. I think I said everything really quickly in 3 minutes, but thank you so much.
Rebecca, you were well rehearsed and efficient at getting that all out there. You practiced. That's really beautiful. That seems like a really wonderful resource for actors to be able to use and reconnect with themselves. That's awesome. Well, next up is Mr. Robert Clemens.
Hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. right, hi, my name is Robert Anthony Charles Clemens, and I'm an artist who's only taken one art class and two graphic design classes in high school. My traditional background in art came from the excuse me, one second, let me make this full. Okay. My traditional background in art came from the University of Dad. That's right, my dad was my first art instructor. He laid the foundation for me to start my journey through art. From my youth until my early 20s, I flirted with art as a hobby. After making a drawing for Snoop Dogg on a poster-sized board for a math project in 10th grade, Snoop requested the same drawing from me when I was 16 after I asked him to sign my drawing. I sold a few drawings through my early 20s, and at the age of 27, with 4.5 years working as an EMT, I changed the course of my life and proceeded in a different direction. I left my job as an EMT to work as a screen printer and develop my first clothing brand called Sunset and Palm Trees. And here are images from publications as well as some of the photos from photo shoots. In 2016, I released my first children's book called An ABC Book of the Countries and One Animal. I self-published through Amazon to learn how the process works, and it is available to purchase through Amazon right now. And that leads me to my next project that I've been working on. It sat on my desk in the form of words on a paper that was basically generalizing the idea of the book, nothing more. And the idea for my book is, I have an idea for a bill, let's try to make it a law. Which is great because of the times that we're in, and people need to understand how laws are ran. Some of the characters in my book are inspired by real people. My daughter, Ava, she is one of the characters in the book, along with her sister, Anaya. And the narrator, as well as my friend, Francis, and the narrator is Mr. Isidore Hall. He's a former state senator. He's also my uncle. He doesn't know that I put him in the book, so hopefully he gives me the okay to use this image. This program has helped me build an understanding of relationships when I'm working with a group. It also helped with the accountability of working with different people from different backgrounds. Graphic designing isn't new to me. I realized that I was able to expand my knowledge in graphic designing within a short time. With this book, you're gonna be able to go through the journey with 7 different kids and travel to Sacramento to see how their idea gets passed as a law. And if you have any questions in relating to graphic work and you wanna contact me, here's my email as well as my website for any art that you would like to purchase. You can also send me an email if you would like to get a link as well as a discount code, being part of the cohorts with Art of Freelance, and as well as being a guest on today's presentation.
Woohoo! I want to invite everybody to unmute themselves, like right when someone finishes a presentation, just for like a quick beat to just applaud, because I know it's so hard to finish the presentation in silence. Robert, that was awesome. The illustrations are like really beautiful. Robert. I loved seeing the person's real photo next to that illustration you did of them. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you
Robert,
so
that
much.
was amazing, man.
Very cool.
I don't know you, but that was awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Seen on all the way from Turkey.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m. here.
We're glad you got up earlier, staying up late.
No, I did not go to sleep, but anyway.
Well, next up we have Ms. Sarah Prickrell.
Hello. I hope this doesn't count towards my 3 minutes, but I just wanted to introduce myself as a guide, and I just want to congratulate my whole cohort. This is my 8th time doing Art of Freelance. I'm a director and a photographer, and you know, all the things that we put on ourselves as artists in this town as a freelancer. But I just feel like I just wanted to take a moment to talk about Art of Freelance in general. Just having done it 8 times, every single time I am so inspired by the people that show up, obviously from all over the world. Kofi was in from Ghana, and we're gonna hear from Sinan in a little bit. And especially during this time, I always tell everyone that wants to do Art of Freelance, they ask me because I've done it so much. I always get clarity, I get accountability, I get a lot gets produced, but also it's a space of community. And I feel like the space that we are in right now, that's what this session was about for me. Just to, so first I just want to congratulate my whole cohort. You did such an amazing job. You inspired me. And we actually had 9 people in our cohort, and everybody showed up every week holding space for each other, no matter where they were in the world or how much they accomplished or didn't, or what they were processing. And so I just huge shout out to my cohort, and thank you for holding this space. I'm so proud of all of you and so inspired by all of you. So it's really interesting. I just wanted to start this with a little bit of context. We started this session of Art of Freelance unlike any other. It started literally the week that we had lockdowns in LA, the stay-at-home orders, and we ended our last meeting on the week that the race revolution began here in LA. And so a lot has happened in 10 weeks. And it's really interesting because at the beginning, the project that I took on, I call Skin Suit. It was sort of this exploration into the ownership of my personal history. I wanted to research epigenetics, and also what it became was this exploration to the role of our attachments and also our dissociation from our own collective stories, and how that plays into our sense of identity and our perspective, and then as artists within our own creation. It's really, really interesting. I'm going to also put in the chat a podcast that I listened to recently. And I've always been fascinated in how we store our stories in our body, and how we, where do those stories come from, and whether we even question them. And I feel like that's what we're all being asked to do as a society right now. That podcast that I'm going to put down there, it's a man who talks about trauma and recontextualizing our own experience. I feel like a lot of times we're in reactionary mode, as opposed to if we take full ownership of our stories and question who we are, then we can be in a space of response and creation. So I got really curious. I get really fascinated by being a strange detective. And I started this concept that I'm 42. So I've had 6 cycles of 7 years in my entire life. And there's a lot of sacred geometry that talks about the 7-year cycle and your first 7 years of your life, and how much is established as a tribe of your ownership and your belonging. I started to do that exploration towards the beginning, and I have like notebooks full of breaking down all of the years and where I lived. And what it came down to as I got more and more into this project is that if you really want to research, there's so much that I don't even know about my own history. And I feel like if you don't own your own stories, you don't know how to be in a space of being able to change them or evolve. And what came up for me was this concept of rethreading. Just to give you a little bit of context, I'm half Korean and half Czech. I grew up in the South, just past, the Vietnam War. And I always associated myself with white. So when I talk about recontextualizing, as a child, how I understood it is that I've never really associated, I had a lot of Korean culture around me, but there was always so much of me not wanting to own because it wasn't really safe. But as a child, I didn't really understand that. So let's say one example would be as when I was a child, they on a form, it didn't actually have the other box, what is the other box anyway? I had to choose either white or Asian. And I would ask my dad from a very young age, what do I put? And he said, well, just check white. And it's like those little things without context I think about now from doing all this research, is that I think went into my psyche of never wanting to put myself into a kind of a box. So it's interesting though, if you really think about it, my grandparents' generation being World War II against the Japanese, my dad being in the Vietnam War, being a vet, and then I knew so many families growing up that actually didn't even know their grandparents because they were disowned for marrying or having Asian blood. And there's this rethreading. I could do, I only have 3 minutes. So there's a rethreading that has happened to me. I'm just going to share a few photos. What I did this session, hold on, I'm going to share my screen. So what I did this session is that I broke down, trying to take a look at my own family history. There's so many things I don't know about my mom and my dad and my siblings. My mother was an orphan in Korea, so she actually doesn't know a lot about hers. My grandparents were a huge part of my life, and they were farmers. And I feel like all of that really goes into bleeding into my own story. So the big question is, how does this go into art? I hear you, Connor. I am now at the phase where I'm looking for, I was wanting to try this concept, this rethreading of all of these things that I'm learning about myself into how does it bleed into art creation. That will be the next phase. And I started to sew through different photos and things that I've done from old art in the past. If you would like to follow my story and where I go from here, you can follow me on IG or my website. And yeah, I hope that we just keep this conversation going. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Beautiful.
Yeah, nice work.
You always do such an amazing job of like taking these projects and making them so personal and holding such great space for everybody while you do such thoughtful work. And I appreciate how much like how much great space you hold for people. I'm sure your cohort would back me up on that one. And we appreciate you being a guide, what, 7 times now? Amazing. One more quick Zoom tip for anybody. When we go into that speaker view, I don't know if you have a whole bar of like the faces. There's like a tiny little line and then like a medium square and then a couple squares. If you go to the little rectangle, that'll just make the person talking be in the corner, and that way it won't block as much of their screen. Just FYI, on the next screen share, you might want to try that one. But next up,
cool.
Kelly Butler.
Yes, hello. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So I'm going to share this, and then I'm going to share, let me see. How do I, there we go. Okay. View a full screen. Yes. All right. So hi, my name is Kelly Butler. I'm a creative director, copywriter, freelancer. This is my 3rd Art of Freelance, and actually all my Art of Freelances have had kind of built on each other. Unlike Sarah, it's my first time leading a cohort. So shout out to my cohort, which I'll roll back to at the end of this really quickly. But this one's, I'm just calling it a brand called me. The idea is to translate my brand into a website that's representative of who I am, what I stand for, and the services I offer as a freelancer. Where I started, this was in my last Art of Freelance. That's what came out was my brand tone and voice. So you just get a flavor for that here. There we go. This time I had to do 2 things. One is I needed a website, but I needed an image for my website, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. So what do? You do illustration. So if you look, this is the progression of the illustration, how it kind of went. It started out where I was like, what are you talking about? And then she explained to me this is a process I needed to be quiet and understand. And she was absolutely right. These were the final 2 looks. I had to pick one. I couldn't, so I bought both of them. The one on the left, I just hired a velvet painter to paint it in velvet. And the one on the right is the one that ended up on my website, which you'll see in a minute. This is my existential crisis. This is how many copy decks I have. This is only from one computer. You can look, I was changing on the 9th as well. I really, 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 really had a hard time figuring out who I am and what I'm supposed to do. I do that for clients every day, and I couldn't do it for myself. So one of the jobs that I actually did is, after so many iterations, I hired someone to do a review of my copy deck. That's what she does for a living, and really kind of helped me pare down what I needed to do. So without further ado, let's go look at the website here. And hold on. And here we go. So shout out to my web designer, who I'll credit her at the end, who's on this call right now for putting up with me. So here you'll look, I've got my brand colors. I wanted to come out really bold, and I said big agency talent without big agency markups. Basically, this is the first time in my career that I am breaking from ad agencies and trying to work with clients on my own. It's very frightening, and I don't have any contacts in that area. So this is a really big statement for me to go after work, and this site was absolutely necessary. So if you look, you scroll down, it talks a little about who I am. We've got these cool little buttons that change. I love.
Sorry, hold on, Kelly. I think I'm seeing in the chat. Are you showing a website, but we're only seeing your deck?
Oh.
So if you want to screen share the website, I think you have to select a different
you got it?
screen.
You see it?
No, we still see the deck. So if you go back down to share screen on the bottom, you might need to kind of cancel this screen share and start a new screen share for the website.
New share. You're right. Here we go.
Or just share your desktop and then we'll see whatever you see. So now we're seeing your desktop. So now we're seeing your website.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay. So really quickly, you can see at the top, we just kind of talk about what we're doing. We go down, we've got these buttons. We've got a how we can help, which is a perfect way to kind of contact me. It was a really tricky thing to try and kind of take all my branding and put it into a website without it being overwhelming. So we talk about my experience. You go down, it looks, you can tell what clients I've worked on. These are all my clients. The person that did my website said, you don't have anything in here that says contact me. I had nothing like that at the beginning. So she actually really schooled me on that. Here we've got some testimonials down at the bottom, which I really like. And those were just pulled in from my LinkedIn. Here was the hardest, like, what am I going to offer? I mean, the hard part isn't what you're seeing. The hard part is writing this crap. Like, that's the like existential crisis problem that I really was really grappling with. Again, wanted something really nice and clean. It's progress over perfection, so it's not done yet. But I'm bringing in an illustrator to bring in some cool illustrations. But if you look, we made this fun GIF out of my illustration. And I talked a lot about me. One thing that's really bold that scares me to put on here, but I did, and it's the only thing that I'll read, is how I'm different. And it says, in short, I give a shit. It may sound crass, but it's an important distinction. If I had a dime for every client that came to me because their agency or contractor kept phoning it in, I'd be Jeff Bezos. I moved into freelancing and consulting so I could work one-on-one with clients and have a real stake in the game, not just some promotion or award. My job is to make you look good, period. And this is also really important to me. This is my pledge, what I give a client, that I'm going to handle every project with care, that I'm going to find satisfaction in helping them. And I'm also going to be donating, it's not on here yet, I'll be donating 10% of all my income every year to a organization in need. This year will be Black Lives Matter. And then I wanted to add something a little personal. So this is like so true. Like, my life is like 25% talking on mute, 10% for getting our cameras on. Like, I've got stories. And of course, like, I'm a sucker for any kind of Zoom background. The one thing I haven't done, my portfolio links out to another page. That's going to be another Art of Freelance where I have to like consolidate these two things. But I haven't actually done that yet. And so to cap it off, really quickly, I just want to give a shout out to my cohort, Art of Freelance team, Sundays at 6 p.m. These people have completely amazed me, and you've already seen some of their work. And I wanted to say that, you know, this is like, it's a village, it takes a village. So although I did this, and you can find me on Instagram at Kelly A. Butler, Krista, Erin, Tina, Pono, all these people are what put this amazing brand together. So if you need any help from these people, definitely give it a screenshot and give them a call. And a shout out to my web designer, Tina, who's on the call. Thank you.
Woohoo! Well done. That's fantastic. Yeah. And your shirt got a special. The website looks really amazing, and like you see a lot of those websites and you feel like they kind of all blend together, and yours just like clearly stands out right there with like such different things. It's fantastic. Also, I used to work for Assholes. The beginning slide. I want to know more about that.
Yes, thank you.
Really great. Cool. So coming up, I believe we're getting into Kelly's cohort now, if I understand how this is laid out correctly.
Well, Robert was in my cohort too, so.
Very cool.
And then
all
Sarah,
right.
Unfortunately, Sarah did an amazing job, but her dad, I just want to give a quick shout out to her, got COVID. And so she's now at the emergency hospital. She couldn't make it, but she wanted me to apologize to everyone. And I hope that y'all can see her work. We can maybe send it out to you because it's very beautiful.
That's Sarah Ellis. Cool. Sorry to hear about her dad. And yeah, we'll find a way to share her work. All right. Well, next up is Sinan, who is in Turkey, where it is 4:30 in the morning, and he is gone dark, but he's here with us, and we're going to play a video. Ah, he's back up. We appreciate you being here.
I'm not going to actually present. I'll just let the video do the talking.
If it was 4:30 in the morning, I would do the same.
Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Sinan.
Hi everyone, greetings from Istanbul, Turkey. I just wanted to record this in advance because the starting time for the presentation is 3:30 a.m. here. It's not uncommon for me to be awake, but I don't know how fatigued I'll be to actually present live. Instead, I might just be lurking around in the shadows on Zoom. And I really hope everything's going well. My name is Sinan. I am a filmmaker. This is my 10th Art of Freelance. I live in LA, but my brother and I kind of, after everything started, we just hopped on a plane and got here to Istanbul, which is where I'm from. What I usually do for Art of Freelance is writing feature scripts, and I've done a lot of it, and that was my original plan for this one as well. I have not always finished the screenplays on time, but I've always finished them afterwards. And I was thinking that was going to be my plan for this semester as well. But my to-do list kind of got in the way. I realized that there were a lot of things on my to-do list, and it was kind of dictating the order of itself to me, because now I had the time. I had the time to do them all, most of them, and I found myself writing short screenplays, 3 short screenplays, which when we were picking the project initially, which was going to be one of my projects. So the way it happened was every time when we were doing our accountability check-ins, I was telling my cohorts that I had not worked on my actual project, but I was working on an alternative project, and I would start my actual project as soon as these things, I got these things out of the way. It is a bit of a cheat to pivot and to kind of say that that was the 3 short scripts that I wanted to finish was my actual project, because it wasn't. But it kind of, especially with the situation we're all in right now, it got to the point that it became about the journey rather than the destination, as trite of a saying as that might be. But I'm at that place right now where I think I can now continue the actual screenplay that I was supposed to write this semester, and I would like to thank my cohort, Sarah's cohort. I would like to thank Sarah. I would like to thank Eric and Eric's cohort, the cohort that I was originally in, but then I had to switch because of the time difference. And thank you, Matthew. Stay safe, everyone. Hope to see you around. Bye-bye.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome.
And like for writers, it's a particularly difficult format to showcase their work, obviously, when it's written. I remember one scene we printed out one of your screenplays and just taped it on the wall at one of the showcases, because how better to actually see some of the written words. So appreciate you.
Fish. It looked awesome.
But we appreciate that you always just keep on churning out the pages, man. And we're excited to see this next screenplay. And I love a good pivot project. I feel like we've all had a few of those in the last 10 weeks. Right on, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Matthew. And Eric is not here with us, right?
Not tonight. He was here tomorrow.
Okay, I'll be around.
We'll pass him the note. Right on.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Next up, I don't know if I'll pronounce this right. Azure? We haven't met yet.
Azure.
Azure. Nice to meet you via Zoom.
Yeah. So I'm a filmmaker as well. I'm a writer. For this Art of Freelance, I decided to finish writing a feature length script that I started by pulling from 10 years of journal entries and diaries and sort of creating something really personal. It's loosely based off of a lot of events in my childhood. So there's a lot of love, there's a lot of beauty, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of pain. It's a very personal project, and I made a video to show. My intention for the video was sort of to have like a visual representation of what the script would look like and feel like as a feature film. So I'm going to share my screen. It's about 2.5 minutes.
The bath is overflowing. I thought the drain would stop it before it got too high, but I guess this bath doesn't do that sort of thing. It's an old hotel. I'll bathe and speak to the trees outside my window. Everything seems okay when they're around. They tell me nothing is too distant, nothing too sacred. Love comes just the same. Yesterday I ran 2 miles. The last 0.5 was a great struggle. I reached deep inside myself to finish. Started running with my whole body instead of just my legs. How I miss you has become something tangible. It grows inside my belly each day. I drink endless cups of coffee just to have something to do with my hands. When you were born, I was a young man. Life had given me a series of disappointments, but my eyes were bright, and I was hopeful. We lived in Brooklyn, and I was in love, and all I could feel was love. But time slipped away from me, and I forgot. No longer listen to the language of the trees. I thought they stopped speaking to me, but it was me who forgot to listen. My darkness was too much to handle, so I closed myself off completely, and I lost all the light. The joys of your life, sucked away by my fear. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's it.
I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Oh. I'm a little teary.
Yeah, I'm not crying. You're crying.
I have a little tear. It's such a personal project. So it's been really tough to work on, but also very cathartic. And I'm looking forward to sort of manifesting it into a feature film.
I love the voiceover person that you chose. I don't know who that was, but
Thank you.
phenomenal.
His name is Michael Excel. He's here. He's a great actor. I went to college with him. Yeah, he didn't.
So many good choices in there. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, amazing. Also, the chat. If you should go read all of the comments in the chat if you haven't, because there was a lot of props in there. And if you don't have a chat window open, everyone should pop it open, because there's a lot of nice things being said in there as well. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Matthew.
You're next up. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Hey, guys. Let's share. Great. I enjoyed being in Sarah's cohort. This is my 5th time in Art of Freelance, but I was the guide the last few times, so it's my first time coming back to just participate. I appreciated her like having to be in charge and not me, although it is rewarding to be a guide. So I'm super proud to share what I made for my organization, which is called Birdbrain. Birdbrain, can you guys see? Yeah? Sarah, make a nod because I can see you. Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Birdbrain is a nonprofit for people impacted by sexual trauma. We make clothes that show our solidarity. You know, talking about sexual trauma is difficult for people, so I wanted to make that not just easier, but actually appealing. And if you don't know the words to say, our clothes are a good way to do that. We also make art therapy kits. So that's like shirts and coloring and embroidery. And when it's not a pandemic, we have pop-up events where groups of people can come and do the crafting together, which is a great way to create community around an issue that's hard to do. And that kind of brings us to how the field guide, which I made for Art of Freelance, is going to become part of our organization now. There's just an enormous number of people in America and around the world who are dealing with sexual trauma. And what you hear about a lot of the time in the public discourse is really about people who are willing to report that and seek treatment, which is basically like only a small fraction of people who are dealing with it. Most people are kind of powering through on their own and not seeking therapy. So I made the field guide as a way to sort of help yourself get through there's no like common experience, right? But there is sort of a common journey that you can go through yourself and with members of your support network. And so the field guide covers that. What it is it's going to be a PDF that will be available for free download on our Birdbrain website. For anyone and everyone, I want it to always be free for people. Or you can buy it IRL, and there's sort of 2 pieces to it. What you're seeing on the left is the main cover. It's about an 85-page workbook, which I wrote all of during this course. Was a lot of writing. And then the second page is the journal, the like crinkled one where you can write your responses in. I don't know if anyone's a journaler like me, but it's so hard to like write on the opposite side of the page, or they'll be like, what do you think about this? And they give you 3 lines and I want to write 3 pages. So I kind of separated them out. What we sort of cover in the field guide, you know, takes you from like the crisis period. You hear a lot about the crisis period, but people are managing sexual trauma symptoms for their entire lives. So you kind of thinking about, is your support network equipped to help you? What are some of the treatment options? What should you know going into that? What's your personal vision of what recovery looks like for you, regardless of, you know, your sexual orientation or your gender or your age or your race? You know, what do you want it to look like for your specific circumstance? And we talk about how to get involved in activism and to do that in healthy, manageable ways. But I would say the thing that's most different about us and other resources is that most things just focus on you. And the field guide focuses on your support network. I try to think of it like Al-Anon is to Alcoholics Anonymous, because people are going through that with you and are going to need adjacent support. So that's kind of what's different about us. A lot of the work is really heavy. So there is art therapy sprinkled throughout. There's like opportunities to color and do things to kind of soothe and comfort yourself as you're going through. And I hope that that will be a wonderful part of our brand and add just like substance and depth to something that you know, has thus far been really focused on the clothes and the crafts. That's kind of going to take us to the next level. It is easy to stay in touch with us if you remember our motto, we're not crazy. And yeah, that's how you can stay in touch with Birdbrain. That's our website and our Instagram. I'm Megan, and that's me. Thanks, guys.
Woohoo!
Oh.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Kelly just wrote followed in the chat, and I would be following you again, but I already follow you. Always incredible the way you take such a deep and difficult and complex subject and make it accessible and open it up for people to participate in that. We love you. Next up, we have Susan Gordon.
Hi, everybody. Great to be with you. Hi, Sarah's cohort. Miss you. Okay, share my screen. Share my screen. This project became a photo essay. It's been a long time in the works as a kind of traditional written memoir. And it covers the...
I'm not going to on your microphone, so it's very loud.
Okay, thank you. It's the long arc of a friendship between four women. I'm one of them in one neighborhood in West LA. Let's see, the title, Eugenia, is, it's the name of the first tree I learned the name of when I moved to Los Angeles from California, so it was a landmark for me. I'm gonna click through and you'll see it's meant to be read as much as looked at, in fact, probably more so. But you're not gonna have time to read it, but you'll just get an idea of the approach that I took. There we go. Let's see, how do I get rid of looking at you guys? Okay. Okay, of the four women, the most accomplished one of all of us, this is not clicking. Where is it going? Oh, I guess I have to do this. Was a plastic surgeon and very successful, very well known in LA, and she committed suicide 11 years ago. So the remaining three of us have spent a lot of time talking about her and about the suicide and trying to make sense of it. But anyone who's been close to suicide, and if you've lived long enough, that's pretty much everybody, knows that that is a futile undertaking. So I have been working on telling some form of this story for a long time, and really with Art of Freelance, something clicked for me when I was looking through photos and ephemera to try to jog my memory, to do more writing. I just thought, let me show these pictures too, that the pictures will help me tell the story. Because I also felt very limited. To tell a good memoir, you have to have a good memory, which I don't. You have to have really kept a journal, which I did only erratically. And you have to tell the truth. And the truth was going to be very hurtful to people I'm still very close to. So I feel like this format has freed me to tell a good version of the story, a version that gets across what I want to get across. It's a work in progress. I haven't finished all the pictures or the text. I did set, you see these snapshots and lame-o photos from photo albums and taken by various people over the years of family activities and stuff, but I set parameter for myself that any pictures I took for this project had to be taken in the neighborhood. They had to be, so I wanted to create this sense of interiority and limits to the places we were going. This is the only picture of the 4 women. There are lots of pictures of some variation of us, but I really scrounged to get 4 of us. Over the years, we did so many amazing things. I mean, very old-fashioned things like caravanning to go camping, and Christmas brunch every year. And then, suddenly, really, she was gone. And now I'm not quite sure what to do. I feel like originally I thought maybe I'd make a book for the friends. I don't know. I was going to work with a designer to try to give it more polish, to turn it into something. But, the way that I'm feeling right now is I want to just kind of finish it in the format that it's in and share it with a few people. And I just feel like this might be it, that this is a point at which I can share it with you, a few more people, and just let it go and finally move on. Thank you for taking a look.
Thank you.
Beautiful. That was so great.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's like such a beautiful, intimate peek into a world. It's brave to share that. I would encourage you to both share it and release it.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Great. Well, this is shaping up to be an incredible evening. Thank you, everybody that shared so far. We're sort of the halfway point. We have lots more great work to come. Before we move on, we're going to introduce and invite our dear friends, Betsy and Van from Space for Arts. Space for Arts, I'll give you a quick intro before you intro yourselves. But we've been working with Space for Arts for a couple of years now. Sorry for the echo. They've been gracious enough to sponsor the showcases when we're doing them in person, but also just support us as we continue to sort of implement Art of Freelance, which is a little bit tricky, setting up all the cohorts and all the timing and all the things. So we really appreciate how much you guys have supported us along the way. They have built this incredible company, but I'll speak for them to say they've also just invested so much in the community, especially around the photography community. And we really appreciate how much you guys have done to help support the photography community and bring people together when we could actually gather in person, and now that we gather online. But we appreciate you guys, and without further ado, I'll let you guys take it from here.
Thanks, Matthew.
So are we gonna play our sizzle first? Ask Connor.
Connor's ready to go whenever you want to play. Oh, okay. Screen sharing's ready to go. All right, we'll play the reel.
Yeah, no, I think that's better.
You remember it all?
You got someone else's dreams. Oh, you
So we've now subjected you to our commercial.
Exactly.
Thank you all very much. In its simplest form, we are a marketplace for professional production spaces. So think of us as taking an Airbnb approach and turning it into a trusted professional tool for the photo and video production community. And I'm Van Goffner, one of the co-founders.
I'm Betsy Davison, and we are thrilled to be here with you tonight. So far, blown away by all of the presentations, all of these projects that you're bringing to fruition through the Art of Freelance. Matthew is this amazing inspiration bringing us all together. When we first heard about Art of Freelance, we couldn't help but want to be a part of it and try to help and support. So our community give back has been obviously through our trusted brand and bringing all of you as creatives vetted professional production studios. So if anybody ever needs that, please reach out to us. But more importantly, one of the things that we like to do is give back to the creative community. And what we have been doing is hosting events in studios around the globe, bringing people together in networking events. But now we're all in Zoom land. So we'll think of different ways to connect. But one of the things that is so amazing is to still be a part of this community and to hear your projects, to hear your voices. And we thank you and we support you. And we're here as your trusted resource if you ever need anything. So Matthew, again, thank you for allowing us to be a part of Art of Freelance. And we can't wait for the rest of tonight and the rest of the presentations tomorrow. So thank you all.
Thank you guys. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you guys, what you do for Art of Freelance, also for the greater community. And it really is a great service. If you need to book a studio, it is the best way to do it. So I highly recommend it. Right on. Thank you guys.
And by the way, I'm sorry. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Matthew.
If no one has heard, Matthew and Camille have an absolutely beautiful, precious baby boy that was born a week ago today. And so we should all do the shout out to Matthew and Camille. Woohoo! Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Congrats.
Little Hawthorne. When I present tomorrow night, I might just put up a picture of Hawthorne and be like, these are my last 2 weeks. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Now we're done. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And like I said, I highly recommend you guys check out Space for Arts. I put the website and the Instagram in the chat. And next up, we have Sarah Kahn.
Can you guys hear me all right?
We can.
Hi. So my name is Sarah Kahn. I was with Kelly, Kelly's cohort group. Yay, Kelly. Let me just share my screen. Can everyone see that all right?
Yep.
You know what? Hold on.
We can.
Going. Okay. Do it from here. Okay, that's better. Okay, so my name is Sarah Kahn, and my project for Art of Freelance was that I developed a prototype for my astrology-based jewelry line called Fatima. And so, who am I and what do I do? I'm a student of Western astrology. I'm interested in areas where astrology intersects with healing, support, and self-improvement. I use astrology to make custom jewelry based off of your natal chart, and that's focused on helping bring improvements into your life. And the way that I do that is that I gather information that helps me determine which planet addresses your needs most. I hand make your jewelry, and lastly, I devise a simple attunement practice for you to do with the jewelry. So what is remediation? My jewelry uses an ancient astrological practice called remediation. And the root of the word is the word remedy. So what kinds of remedies? Health-based remedies, relationship remedies, career visibility, finances. These are all just some examples of the kinds of life hurdles that can be remedied through the use of astrology. Remediation actually helps bring out the optimal energy from your chart, and gemstones that are a very common form of remediation.
Hey, Sarah, really quickly, are you thinking you're moving your presentation because it's not moving?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. We're still on the cover slide.
Oh, shoot. Let's see. Let me try this. Okay, so how's that? Can everyone see that?
Try moving it down. I just want to see if it changes. Yep, there you go. And then,
Moving?
yep, that's it. Yep.
Okay.
Good catch. Great. Thank you.
Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. There. Okay. So I'm gonna have to give you guys a quick glimpse of these slides and keep going. So for this project, I did a prototype in which I used the chart of a client, and I went through the full process I had mentioned earlier. The piece wound up needing to remedy the effects of Saturn, and so what does that mean? There's a whole spectrum of themes under each planet demonstrating their good and bad qualities, and they all have both. So if you've ever been down in the dumps, feeling isolated like many of us are right now, strained for resources, etc., these are all negative manifestations of Saturn. And just a side note, a lot of the things that are happening right now with the quarantine specifically actually do have to do with Saturn. And here's a predictive freebie. Watch out for an energy and tone shift between June 27th and 28th. So for this example, based off of the chart that I used, the Sun, Moon, and Venus were planets that could work with Saturn to bring about its positive manifestations. And also on this particular chart, the Sun, Moon, and Venus were planets that can bring certain desired things into the life. So these are some supporting materials I provide with the jewelry. They map out in detail the planetary terrain of your piece. And as you can see, I've included which stones are associated with which planet. Here is the actual bracelet I made during Art of Freelance. And the entire piece is in sterling silver with very high quality gemstones that I sourced directly, mostly out of India. And the filigree components are all repurposed from either antique or vintage pieces. Here are some earrings that I made. They're a climber style of earrings, and the climber portion can be detached for a pared down look. The earrings feature a Herkimer diamond drop at the bottom, and developing these pieces during the sudden quarantine pandemic, it proved to be a challenge. When it came to sourcing my components, I did that by placing orders with enough shipping lead time and kind of Tetrising my order arrivals, basically. I worked with a lot of antique, estate, and secondhand stores online. And then finally, to really benefit from these pieces, you have to undergo an attunement practice with them. Much like the map from earlier, I provide a detailed, customized attunement practice with each piece. And this includes on my part, the research and development of the method for you to connect with that planet's energy. So this is often accomplished by referencing authentic ancient manuscripts that I have in my personal library. So that's how I provide my remedy service using astrology and gemstones. And you can contact me at any of these locations. If you reach out to me with your exact birth details, I'll schedule a free 30-minute consultation with you and can give you some pointers on which planet's energy addresses your current concerns. And...
All right.
Yay!
Woo!
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job.
Really beautiful.
Thank you.
The jewelry too is beautiful. Like the context is amazing, but then the jewelry itself is fantastic.
Thank you.
Great. Well, we I'm gonna make a quick change up. Mara just texted and said that there's a chance her cell may die because she's at 20%. So while she's here and we have her, I'd love to bring her forward. So sorry, that's a change. I'm looking over at Connor to see if he's, I got a thumbs up, so that's good. Mara, is that cool with you? Not to put you on the
Yes, thank
spot.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not at all. Thanks for being flexible and switching things up.
Of course. Where are you? Hi. Thanks for dialing
Cool.
in.
Hi, everyone. Thanks. Thanks again for having me be a cohort leader. I think this is my 5th Art of Freelance and the 4th time as a cohort leader. I'm in Zion right now, so I'm pretty psyched that there's cell service here, and then I can join all you guys. Just a quick note to my team, my group, thanks again for being part of this with me. It's been such a great journey, and I'm super proud of everyone. And everyone just in this session of Art of Freelance. So it's been really awesome to check out everyone's work. So yeah, without further ado, I'll go ahead, and if you guys could pull up my presentation. So what I did was a series of artwork. I've been working on sort of this type of art for a few years now, and it's just kind of a new series. It's almost like an evolution of what I've created before. And this is it's called Origin. And so I created, I think, gosh, maybe it was about a dozen pieces. And they range in size from 11 by 14 to 20 by 26. The last time I kind of went big and did all 20 by 26, but I was a bit limited in terms of the supplies that I could source this time around, but it was a good challenge to have. So I'm sharing just some of the details of the work so you can kind of see just the textures and kind of the application and kind of what goes into it. And it took on sort of I've kind of curated it by colors, as you'll see. And it's really, again, a lot of it's about transformation and origin and kind of the source of things and where we're from. So hopefully these images or this artwork represents that idea. Yeah. So I use alcohol ink, which is the medium I've been using for the past few workshops or series that I've created. I just really like the fluidity. It also kind of lends itself well to the subject matter and the themes of my art. Yeah, so I just saw a note that popped up, said origins of life, and that's really a lot of what it's about. It's just kind of like the idea of the sacred geometry of the circle and sort of what it represents in life from a microcosmic view and a macrocosmic view. I always sort of have that play going on in my work too. So, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I think there's several pieces. So I had quite a bit of time on my hands. And yep, there's a handful more coming up. A few more details. I use just a range of colors, really. I more often than not, I always like to incorporate gold, and it's all ink. It's not any other medium besides ink. And just the borders that I use are embroidery hoops. So I also like that it kind of seeps out and it feels more organic that way to me. So I think there's a couple more, maybe one last detail. Yep, and that's it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that and got a good view of Zion in the background. So
Yes.
Always.
Where can you find your work online? Like, do you have a?
You know what? That is another. I should be doing this for my next Art of Freelance project. Is building a website. I am in the midst of building a website on Shopify, but you can check out more of my work on Instagram for now. Just my Instagram is my name, so it should pop up pretty easily. But yeah, stay tuned for more. So.
Yay! Well done, Mara. I mean, it's
Congrats.
beautiful as always. I love seeing
Thank
those
you.
details too. I mean, when you see the pieces and you're able to walk up to them, it's so like striking. And I'm so glad that you included those details in this presentation so we could see how that ink plays with it itself. It's amazing.
Cool. Thank
Enjoy
you.
Zion out there. I took a screen grab of the group chat because I bet you can't see it on your phone. So I'll send it to you because there's lots of love in there as well.
Oh, thank you. That's great. Thanks to
course.
everyone.
Thank you, Mara. And thanks for being a guide.
Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Emery from San Francisco, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to be here because we have a moving trailer that was dropped off at 5:15 tonight. So I'm going to show you a slideshow and audio that I prepared.
Hey everyone, this is Catherine Emery from San Francisco. A special thank you to my cohort, Sarah, Megan, Kofi, Sinan, Haley, James, Rebecca, Susan, and Jeff for the inspiration you gave me amidst a global pandemic and a necessary and long overdue social uprising because Black lives more than matter. Others Sick in the Time of COVID is a project that culminated from our time together, and I will share a portion of it tonight. During shelter in place, my husband grew suddenly and mysteriously ill. Within days, he was immobile from the waist up in extreme and chronic pain. We began to navigate the healthcare system of others sick in the time of COVID, and my daughter was thrown into a world of isolation and fear of worldly and family sick. These images are my way of navigating the soul of care as a mother, partner, and artist. March 18th, my husband wakes with fever and chills, muscle aches, and a strange tingle. My daughter spends much of the first day home alone. April 14th, he sleeps 4 to 6 hours a day, and she plays and works around him. How are we going to see the people who need our help if we can't go outside? How do we get help if no one can see us? She asks. Nobody should be alone, she whispers and puts a stuffed animal in my empty spot on the bed. Because he's in pain, my husband sleeps alone. Because my daughter is scared, I sleep in her room on the floor. Mornings are the hardest because we begin phone calls and she eats alone. The flowers in the corner scream that spring has arrived and there's no one but me to hear this morning. You can't smell your friends on Zoom, she argues. She misses her friends today, especially today. It's a strange thing, she says, to have a normal day and to avoid a monster you can't see. It's like the bad dreams you have at night that sit on the back of your eyelids and make your heart beat fast. Tonight, this fairy has the power to heal people and see into their souls. We end the afternoon with a fight and 2 hours of mutually tear-filled conversation. She points out that I've been angry too, and short, and distracted. She wears the veil to talk with me about these things. We cannot have a pet in our rental, and she longs to have something to love, especially now. She talks to her stuffed animals, to the plants quietly when she thinks I cannot hear. Days blend into weeks, into months. This is the room where we spend all of our time, and tomorrow will be the same. Thank you. How you can help. I am moving to Mount Desert Island, Maine, tomorrow. My goal is to transition to long-form storytelling, documentary, and editorial work. Feel free to send me any contacts, send me work. Let me know if you want to see the full body of work and give me feedback. Thank you so much.
Woohoo! Wow. 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 Very powerful.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really powerful. Really powerful work. Well done.
Yeah. The subject, the narration, but the images themselves are stunning too. On top of that, I mean, yeah, really beautiful.
I loved hearing it through your daughter's eyes. Like that was so, it's so, you don't think about how kids think right now. And it just gave me such a different perspective.
You can't smell your friends on Zoom. Like, oh, yeah. Beautiful. Good luck with the move. We can't wait to see more of this work, and sign me up for seeing the full body of work. Beautiful. Okay. Next up, Mr. Micah Greenberg.
Okay, hi everybody. See, I'm gonna share my screen. Can you see that? It says my name at the top. Yep.
We can.
Great. So it's perfect to follow Catherine because I think I'm an example of, if you're not an immensely talented visual artist with a really moving story to tell, you too can do art of freelance. No, Catherine's project, or Sarah Prickrell's projects in the past, Christina Huntington, and then others in my group, Robert's books, Eric Kahn's jewelry, the Standard of Kelly's work, are all reasons why I've been so inspired by art of freelance, but kind of afraid to do it. It's not sort of the nature of what I do. What I did, and Matthew mentioned this in the beginning, is something that's more functional or more foundational for my freelance work, which is in brand building and social impact. So I made this website, which is pretty basic. I encourage everybody, make a basic website if you don't have one. It's less about making a website here and more about kind of claiming my space or the possibility of being a freelancer. I think I've been self-employed for 5 or 6 years and haven't really acknowledged it, or almost fought against it, and felt more of the uncertainty than the possibility. So the exercise here was very much to hone in on a message and on a path. So that I do work on purpose. Part of the decision here was to lean into purpose and lean into mission, especially during these times. And I've worked with a lot of different clients in marketing communications over the years, but a lot of those nonprofits, and that's where I want to focus more of my time. So you see here I have this intro paragraph, and I'm talking about some clients, large and small, kind of national and local. And together we're on a mission, yours. And one thing that I think has been challenging about art of freelance for me is that it's felt kind of selfish, but a reminder that this is sort of a selfish process toward unselfish work, right? So it's really about what we've been able to do as a cohort. That's been incredible. And then the work that I hope to do with clients too. I have kind of 3 categories of work too, and all around brand and brand strategy and storytelling, really. So brand strategy is the foundational work of understanding what you do and what makes it compelling, what makes it necessary, really. Brand narrative, so how to tell that story with the world, and that could be at a foundation level, like a tagline or in a creative campaign. And brand impact, so this is about sort of more feet on the ground, rubber hits the road, I don't know the right expression. This is ongoing marketing and measurement. And then here I have a photo. This is actually by Matthew. Thank you, Matthew, for the photo. And a little bit of a bio about myself that's kind of a balance of my professional background and personal interests, volunteer work, cultural programming, all of which are related. This is a testimonial from my best friend in DC. So I'm just being candid. You know, you can get this stuff, you know, where available, right? To start with, you got to start somewhere, but it's real. And get in touch. So I have here, thank you to Art of Freelance. I've been aware of Art of Freelance since before it existed And I really never knew how special it was. So thank you especially to Kelly and to the Sunday 6 o'clock cohort. And in summary, my name's Micah Greenberg. I'm a branding guy with a social conscience. You can reach me at this email, but definitely ask Connor. He knows where to find me. Okay, thanks.
Woohoo! Yay! I love it. It turned out so good. Nice work.
Oh,
Much work.
I loved Mike. The quote I wrote down was a selfish process about unselfish work. I thought that was very well said. But this looks awesome. Like, way to get out in the world. I know it's been a thing that you've been like wanting to get out there, and this looks amazing.
Thank you.
Your soul shines through, says Susan, and she would know. Cool. Thank you, man. And am I going to pronounce the name wrong again? Is it Jean or Jeannie? Jeannie, right?
Hi, it's Jeannie. Right on, cool. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. All right, hello everyone. Why don't we just take a moment to breathe, because we are quite, Zoom fatigue is a real thing. So let's just take a moment to breathe. Thank you for still being here. My name is Jeannie Ann Huh, and I am a teaching artist and community organizer. I co-founded the gallery News Juice in Chinatown, and my co-founder Maceo Paisley told me about Art of Freelance. This is my first Art of Freelance. I am a big believer in the arts and its ability to bring people together. It's brought us all here together, hasn't it? And it's kept us going to the finish line. Before I share my project, I want to read something about art. You can either follow me on the screen or just listen. This is a conversation between a sculptor and theologian from Susan Howard's Glittering Images. But no matter how much the mess and distortion make you want to despair, you can't abandon the work because you're chained to the bloody thing. It's absolutely woven into your soul, and you know you can never rest until you've brought truth out of all the distortion and beauty out of all the mess. But it's agony, 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 while simultaneously being the most wonderful and rewarding experience in the world. And that's the creative process which so few people understand. It involves an indestructible sort of fidelity, an insane sort of hope, an indescribable sort of, well, it's love, isn't it? There's no other word for it. And don't throw Mozart at me. I know he claimed his creative process was no more than a form of automatic writing, but the truth was that he sweated, enslaved, and died young giving birth to all that music. He poured himself out and suffered. And that's the way it is. That's creation. You can't create without waste and mess and sheer undiluted slog. You can't create without pain, and it's all part of the process. It's the nature of things. So in the end, every major disaster, every tiny error, every wrong turning, every fragment of discarded clay, all the blood, sweat, and tears, everything has meaning. I give it meaning. I reuse, reshape, recast all that goes wrong so that in the end, nothing is wasted and nothing is without significance and nothing ceases to be precious to me. I didn't meet all my expectations for my project, and to be honest, I was feeling a little bit of shame because I got a scholarship for this workshop. And as an Asian American femme, that shame weighs differently on my shoulder. Shame will have you doubting yourself, but a quick remedy to shame is gratitude, appreciation for who you truly are. In the spirit, okay, so this is kind of my project. I made a website for myself. But in the spirit of gratitude, I like to thank my cohort. Mara, thank you for exemplifying leadership and holding yourself accountable while also leading the small group, while also juggling a pandemic and your life. Azur, thank you for sharing your unique story with the world. There is a dire need for Black representation in filmmaking. Jamie, thank you for bringing your heartbreak and transforming it into power. The erotic is truly powerful, and it was so inspiring to witness you transform your story. Brendan, thank you for your friendship. You are my brother and my comrade. Thank you for your accountability on and off the court. I'd like to thank the Art of Freelance community for giving me the confidence to continue walking in my lane. I took away the valuable truth that a champion for others must also be a champion for themselves. Please visit my website and sign up to my mailing list at jeanniehe.com. There is a work in progress special preview for this community, and the password is on the screen. Password is nothing is wasted. Once again, thank you for your time. My name is Jeannie Ann He, and I am a visionary guide to community practice.
Jeannie.
Nice work.
Oh.
We feel the vision. Beautifully said. Okay, next up we have JP Hansen.
Hey everyone. So I actually did the Art of Freelance workshop last fall, and I directed a short film for that. And I usually write screenplays. And so for this Art of Freelance, I wanted to do something like totally out of my wheelhouse, which is fiction. And so I wrote a short sci-fi romance story called Cosmic Entanglement. And I'm gonna read just like the first part to you guys. A few months ago, I was in a monogamous long-term relationship with my partner, Ben, heading towards marriage, house, kids, the whole shebang. I never thought I'd give polyamory a try, let alone find a new lover who is truly out of this world. I had always said polyamory was a lovely idea that seemed to work for some people, but it never would have been something I could do. I get jealous and insecure, and I had dreams of building a stable life with someone I loved. Polyamory would be pure torture, but the boredom and monotony of monogamy, that began to feel torturous too. At first I thought Ben and I just needed to spice things up. A few new sex positions later, plus weird toys that just take up space in your drawer, and lots of internet Googling on how to drive your man wild. It was clear that whatever it was that was lacking for me wasn't going to be resolved with some Martha Stewart bedroom recipes. So finally, after 3 years and 4 months into our relationship, I asked Ben if polyamory was something he'd be open to. Surprisingly, like very surprisingly, he was all for it. I was actually a little unnerved with how eager he seemed, but that was just my insecurity talking. Trying to date women was my first pursuit. Turned out that trying to infiltrate the San Fran queer community as a femme introvert is as difficult as trying to get a decent one-bedroom in Lower Haight for less than $3,000. Fast forward to now, 3 months and after opening our relationship, Ben and I are both dating someone. Ben's dating Sheila, a hippie marine biologist who loves indoor rock climbing and vegan food. And I'm dating Marlo, a musician totally obsessed with the past, and he has the antique furniture and vintage clothes to prove it. At least that's all Ben really knows about him. In all honesty, I'd sort of been bending the truth about Marlo to Ben. It started with just one innocent little lie. I told Ben I met Marlo on Tinder. God knows Marlo doesn't use dating apps. He's much too old school for that. But what really happened was Ben took me on a date one Friday night to an open mic at a coffee shop in Dogpatch. Marlo was one of the performers. Not a great look to be drooling over the guy on stage when you're supposed to be spending quality time with your current beau. As Marlo sang and played guitar, I stared wide-eyed, hoping Ben wouldn't look over and see me fangirling. There was something about Marlo that had me spellbound. A magnetism that drew me in like seeing a meteor shower for the first time. His piercing green eyes and curly shoulder-length hair made my heart melt into my stomach. His voice, full of gritty temper and mysterious and dark lyrics, stirred a curiosity in me. I went to his next 3 shows alone, telling Ben I was out on various Tinder dates. I approached Marlo after every show, complimenting him and trying to start a conversation. No go. He was always polite, but a bit reserved. So on my last try, I put on my big girl panties and I invited him out for a drink. If he declined with any excuse, I was going to take that as a sign for me to leave the poor guy alone and hope that I'd eventually find an attraction just as strong as someone else. But I knew that was doubtful. So when Marlo said yes, with a sheepish grin, I was relieved that my faking courage and confidence had actually worked. I accompanied him to his loft apartment so he could drop off his guitar, but we never did make it out for that drink. And you can read the full story on medium.com, hopefully sometime soon. And the info should be in the chat box. And if not, I'll post it on there too.
Wow. That was great. I can't wait to read it.
I know, right? I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
Also, the cosmic bit. I feel like we're going places.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, we have 4 presenters left. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in, for being such a part of this whole night and presentation. We really appreciate everybody, and we're really excited to hear these last 4 presenters. So next up, Michelle.
Hi, guys. So awesome seeing all of your work. I'm like so inspired by all of you. I was in Kelly's group. Shout out to Kelly's group. Super awesome. Everyone was so supportive and helpful. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so I am a fashion and lifestyle photographer, and I feel like in normal times I probably would have tried to plan some grand, elaborate shoot that I had always been wanting to do with a great big team, but because of COVID, I changed everything around and started to focus on something that I've been putting off forever, is email marketing, and like working on promoting myself. So my lovely team helped me come up with that title as well. Shout out. So I created 3 templates throughout the session. An intro template. I started doing these like FaceTime sessions, photo shoots during quarantine. And then I also did like a targeted email for specific people. So this is my intro email, super short, just a quick like, hello, this is me. This is where you can find my work, which I've just kind of been sending out to photo editors and art directors, like a little intro, see if anybody bites. And then I started doing these FaceTime shoots with like a few friends, which was just like, we would kind of set up a photo and she kind of showed me around her house and was like, okay, let's like set the phone up this way. And you know, see what we can get. And they actually started going pretty well. So I decided to like offer them out to more people. And I've now done some people who like
Hey, Michelle, you're breaking up.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're really breaking up.
No. Is this
maybe kill your camera?
better? Kill my camera. Okay. Let me try that again. Is this better?
I can hear you. Try one more time.
Now I'm sharing something else. Okay, let me try one more. Oh, where did it go?
Down in the bottom.
Sorry, guys.
Corner. No, it's fine. Down in the bottom left-hand corner where it says stop video, you might be able to stop your video, but then still share your screen, and it might help your bandwidth situation.
Got you. Okay.
We still want to see beautiful work, so see if sharing your screen still works there.
Does that work? Are you guys seeing?
We're now seeing
We're seeing a contract.
Oh, weird. Oh, okay, here it is.
You still there?
Michelle? May have lost her. Okay, now we see your face.
I hear you guys again.
Lost you for a moment.
Let's try this one more time.
When you do the screen share, just make sure you select, it'll give you lots of options for different windows you might have open that you can share. See about selecting the document.
Okay. Can you hear me and see me okay?
We can hear you, but we don't see anything. It says you're sharing your screen, but we don't see it. So like.
It says sharing is paused. Huh.
Michelle, would you be able to email the PDF to us right now? And maybe we can share it on this side and we'll just sort of have you walk us through it via audio at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have our email, right? hello@artofreelance?
Hello@artofreelance? Okay.
hello@artofreelance.com. Send the PDF over to Connor and we'll share it on our side and we'll have you go last. We'll move on right now, but then at the end,
okay,
we'll put the PDF on our side and you'll be able to walk us through it.
Cool. Sorry, guys.
No, not at all. Wi-Fi is impossible these days. All right. Well, Brendan, not to surprise you, but we're spotlighting your video right there. And then, yeah, Michelle, just send that over to us and we'll get that ready on our side.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Brendan Thompson. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I'm going to start sharing my screen now. Oh, wait. I had something to share in the chat. So there's my info. It's all caps because I shared it from this presentation view that I created. So here's my info really quick. My name again is Brendan Thompson. What I worked on for Art of Freelance was my website, DIYmuseum.com, that I'm about to show, but you can find me on Instagram at d.i.y.museum. My other contact info is here if you want to reach me, and then you can sign up for my email list, which will have like different things about art that I'm working on, inspiration, that kind of thing. So here's my website. I hope you all can see it okay. And so I've got DIY Museum playing in the background, and then we've got art. There's me, Brendan, community, in DIY. So first I'll show my portfolio, starting with my film photography work. So it's mostly in order of when I shot it. The first 6 or so photos are from my first roll. The next are from the next roll. And then these last 6 photos are from my third roll. I'm working on another one right now. I've had my camera since about February. And yeah, I've been taking film photos for a few months now and I really enjoy it. I've also got some drawing work. Here's a tent that I drew at Echo Park Lake. I've been doing a lot of work there as an activist. And then here's a fountain at school, myself in 2 different ways. Here's all my work from my drawing class that I did last quarter for winter. And then here's a collage, a couple collages I did. And then, let's see, I have about a minute left. There's a blog explaining, Austin Kleon is an artist that really inspired me. And then a little bit about what the DIY museum idea, where it comes from. So you can find this all on DIYmuseum.com. Going back, there's an About Me page. Talks a little bit about who I am. I do crowdfunding. I'm a student at UCLA. Let's see. And then back to the home page, community work. I work with crowdfunding, like I said. I do a Patreon for We the Unhoused. It's a podcast by my friend Thea, who's unhoused. And right now we have over 100 patrons, and I work on TikToks for him as well. Those have been pretty successful. And then finally, some video work that I've done, just some time lapses of different projects of mine. And yeah, there's also an inspiration tab, and I think that's mostly it. You can sign up for my newsletter, which I put in the chat. Thanks, everyone.
Bravo!
Wow, Brendan.
Yeah!
You're still at UCLA. You're still a student. Okay, so we're all going to be working for Brendan in about 5 years. Sure. That's awesome, man. Yeah, really cool. I love how big the vision is for all this. And shout out to Maceo from News Twos. Awesome. James. Hello.
Hello. So I'm James, and I'm a musician, and I want to share a song, but before I start, I want to just thank everybody. It's been so nice to see everybody's work, and thank you, Sarah, and our whole group. It's been really great. It's been, taught me a lot about how to, get, work on a project and follow through. So, my song isn't perfect, but I'm just gonna share it, and yeah. Thank you. Oh,
I heard a voice last night while I was trying to go to sleep. It told me I was doing just fine. Told me not to worry about a thing, but everything's gone wrong. Nothing has found its place. And when I lie in bed, I just stay away. I need the strength of God, feel it all encompassing the silent knowledge. Although saying nothing always tells the truth. Or it won't be long to answering, giving me a hope. Just hide away. I know I lost my faith, but still I'm holding on. All I know is when my team and soldier on. I thought we had something, but suspicions and dirty word. I was nothing but a sinner myself, for sure.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
Woo! I'm so proud of you. And he's being humble, but he played all parts.
I can't believe you did that in like 7 weeks.
Everything. So excited. Completed it.
Yeah, Christina said I want this on my summer playlist. I agree. I put the link to the SoundCloud in the chat. I think Zoom is probably an imperfect medium to share the music just with the internet compression on it. So I'm gonna listen to it later on like proper headphones and make sure I get the like full range of all of it, because I bet there's even a second layer to that we'll be excited to hear. That's brilliant, man. Well done. Woohoo. All right, Ricardo. Ricardo's up next.
Hey everyone, my name is Ricardo Harris Fuentes, and this is my second Art of Freelance. The first one I guess I did in the spring of last year, and just loved it. And so I'm back. I guess like a lot of people, once you get in, you get hooked to it. I'm a huge procrastinator, and my project that I worked on this year, which I feel like was the project I wanted to do the last time, but I kind of chickened out. So this is like my true passion project, but it's also something that I've been talking about for years and just not coming around to because I was scared to put myself out there and try it. So I basically am launching a side hustle for myself, which is a sort of healer business that I have named Shamanic Solutions. I'm interested in Reiki. I've studied Reiki. I've studied with different types of healers and shamans. And I've been studying this for years, but I've held off on, trying to offer it in the world. And so this Art of Freelance was really about trying to do that. And it morphed into creating a website, or that was a small part of the task. And I'll share it now with you guys. Can you guys see it? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And so, I'm, as you guys have seen tonight, my crew of cohort was just, the most amazing designers and, and advertisers and marketers. And so it was like crazy to be trying to do this for myself. But these guys are like putting up incredible sites. But I realized that the website for me was a way to kind of legitimize what I was doing and also kind of give form to like what I wanted to offer. And I'm just kind of cruising through. So this is like a, as you guys probably know, like a Squarespace site and whatever. But it really helped me to, formalize and organize my thinking and what I was going to be offering. And there's some study that was involved in it. I also, part of the project was setting up a healing space, which obviously is going to be a little bit difficult right now with COVID, and in-person sessions are probably not going to be available for a while. But all of this work is designed to also happen remotely, so there is the option for that as well. But procrastination has been a lifelong challenge for me. I'm sure it has for a lot of people here. And so this project was really about just putting myself out there and doing all of this. It's kind of, with the theory of like, if you build a website, it will come. I don't think I'm ready to like sort of really call myself a professional at this or anything like that. But my idea was to sort of launch the friends and family and Art of Freelance family sort of beginnings to it. So there's actually an Art of Freelance code. If anyone wants to book a healing session with me, it's all free. The code is AF, and you can type it in when you sign up for a session. And maybe to sort of wrap it up in I don't know, with everyone's permission, shamanism is one of the oldest sort of spiritual traditions in the world, and it involves lots of different things, but it sort of involves using your imagination to heal yourself and to gain answers about your life and in ways to move through blockages and conquer your inner demons. And it's also something that I think the world needs right now, right? We all experienced a pretty tremendously trying time with COVID, and then the stuff that happened around George Floyd. And so, somebody told me not too long ago, I said, I feel like a fraud. I can't do this. And they're like, you know what? The world needs healing. And I really feel like that is more true today than ever before. So I want to be a part of that. And yeah, so that's basically my project, but I was thinking since I'm the last one, maybe we could do like I don't know, 30-second, 2-minute little closing ceremony just to honor all of you guys for all the hard work you've done, and Matthew for what you've put together consistently. This is just an extraordinary community, I think, brings artists together and designers. And so it would just be a very simple, I'll have, if I can have everyone's permission.
Ricardo, I just wanted to say we are going to hear Michelle's presentation still.
Oh, okay.
Skip over her because her internet was.
Sure.
Can we do Michelle, and then can we come back to you for?
Yeah. It'll be really short, and only if you guys want to do it. But
no. I love that. But let's hear Michelle's presentation, then we'll follow you again and close us out.
Totally, sounds good.
Right on. And thank you for your presentation. And is the artwork behind you yours? I remember that.
Yeah, and this is also one of my paintings because I'm also an artist interested in all of this stuff. So of course, I brought my spirit allies behind me. And a shameless plug.
Previous session.
Right.
So cool.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, no, thank you. And congrats on getting that all together. And we have Michelle's PDF up. And Michelle, are you still there? Are you able to walk us through it?
Yeah.
And just kind of say
can you guys...
next slide, and I'll rotate through it for you.
Okay, perfect. I think I left off at the FaceTime session. That's
right, yep.
When I cut off. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've started doing these just in case I said this already and you guys heard it, but or in case not. These FaceTime sessions, and I've been doing a few of these just to kind of like make money and stay creative during this time. And they've been actually really fun, which I was very skeptical about them when I first started seeing other photographers try them out. But it's great because you really get to work with like the model in a totally different way. And it's way more involved, and you guys get to, we get to create together, which is really awesome. You can go to the next slide. There are just a few other ones that I did recently. And I also get to see people's homes, which is really cool. I love the little house tours and finding out that my friends have these beautiful backyards and stuff. So yeah, and then you go to the next slide. And then my last email that I did was more of a targeted campaign. So I reached out to an art director, at an agency, and kind of just showed her what I've been up to during quarantine and some past work, and then just kind of made it very personalized, kind of why I want to be repped by them. And you go to the next slide. And I was very excited that she even responded to me, because I'm sure as a lot of freelancers, you send a ton of emails out and not often people get back to you. So this is really cool. And the next slide, I think this is my info. I'm always on Instagram, and you can message me there or email me if you want to do a FaceTime shoot. Let me know. And yeah, thanks guys. This was super awesome.
Yay!
Awesome. The images are beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, that is all the presentations for tonight. I want to thank everybody that is on the call again for presenting, for coming to view the presentations, for everyone that's been part of Art of Freelance, for being a part of this community, for the guides, for leading these cohorts to create this kind of work. It's deeply appreciated, and especially in these times, community, creativity, these are obviously sort of core pieces that will help move us forward. And we just want to, again, give gratitude for everyone for being here. I'm excited for the shamanic closing ceremony that, the 30-second shamanic closing ceremony that Ricardo has prepared for us, which sounds like a perfect way to close us out. And just to say thank you again. Also, I'll invite you all, if you're interested, pop back in tomorrow night. 5:30 till about this time. We're doing this again with the other 3 cohorts that were part of Art of Freelance. It's the same Zoom link, so you can literally just click the same button and pop back in. We'll be doing the workshop again in the fall, and would love to have you guys there again. We're always available for questions, comments, etc. So thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys. And without further ado, Ricardo, please take us home.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much, Matthew, for all that you do for us. And thank you guys all for your incredible presentations. And so I was just this came to me while I was listening to everyone. You know, ritual is an important part of life, and it's nice to have closure after something as beautiful as this evening. So what I thought we just do a real quick sort of breathing and sort of visualization in your mind's eye, where I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. We'll take a couple deep breaths. I'll start it with a ding on my bell, and we'll just imagine, for those of you who've been to the Art of Freelance space, I was thinking that you would just imagine yourself in the room with all of us tonight that are on this call, your cohort. You know, it's a beautiful space. If you haven't been, it's just sort of like this, you know, art cave that you know, in the heart of the coolest part of LA. And so I'm going to ring my bell. Close your eyes. We'll take 3 deep breaths, and then I want you to just imagine the people in the cohort, the people in on this evening, whatever friends you've invited, and then in your mind's eye, we'll just sort of link up and create a circle. Maybe hold hands with somebody in your cohort on each side who was particularly meaningful or supportive to you. And we'll just feel the love and the gratitude for this moment and for this experience. And then I'll close out with the bell. So hopefully everyone can hear me. Sometimes Zoom cuts out the sounds, but I'm going to ding my bell, and I'm going to ask you guys to take 3 deep, long in and out breaths. Closing your eyes. Nice long breaths in. Just sort of feeling into your body, relaxing, seeing yourself in this space, seeing your cohort there, seeing Matthew and the Art of Freelance team, your friends, your family, maybe in your heart, feeling a small or a large amount of love for each other, for this moment, and everything that led up to this moment. Gratitude. Now we're just all spreading out in the room, taking each other's hands as we link up one last time in this Art of Freelance. Then open your eyes. So thank you so much for letting me do that. It was wonderful being with all of you tonight. And I'll pass it back to Matthew.
I don't think any more needs to be said. Thank you, Ricardo, for that. We do wish that everyone could have been here with us tonight, but this was the next best thing. And just one more time, a huge amount of gratitude for everyone that presented, and a huge congratulations to you all for these projects that you put together and you presented tonight. Some really beautiful work. And it's always, we never know what we're going to see when we walk into these showcases, and we're always continually impressed and delighted by it. So thank you guys for being a part of this, and we hope that we get to see you all soon.
Thank you, Matthew.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Ricardo, that
you.
was great. That was
Thank
great.
you guys.
Love seeing all these faces.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Love, love,
much.
love.
So proud of all of you.
Sarah, thank you, Matthew.
Great presentations, everybody.
Right.